Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the session on just and welcome to the third virtual Global Summer School on Law and Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, organized by Knowledge Teas in collaboration with South Ural State University, Management and Science University, uh, the Ural State University, Manipal University, Jaipur, Sohar University, Sultan Idris Education University, Moscow State University. We are excited to have you join us today. My name is Srishti Agarwal and I will be the moderator for this session. Without any further ado, I would like to call our first speaker of the session, Yulia Khatrinova ma'am. She is going to speak on the topic, the principle of transparency in artificial intelligence and data management. She is the Doctor of Science, Professor of Legal Science, Professor of Business Law Department, Law Faculty of Moscow State University. Dr. Khatrinova had their Search and Education Center for Legal Studies of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Economy at Moscow State University. Professor Khatrinova is a Russian scholar and author in civil and digital law, business law, and legal education. She has authored more than 200 peer reviewed articles and contributed to several textbooks and other books on the business, civil, digital, corporate, and intellectual property law. She engages in legislative activities in Russia and different international scholar projects and administrating the conferences. Welcome, ma'am. Please proceed with the session. Ma'am, you are not audible. Please unmute your mic.
It's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, dear students and dear colleagues. Today we open the day of Lomonosov Moscow State University, as was said. Three speakers will take part in the Summer School of Artificial Intelligence, Ethics and Law, and I hope it will be a fruitful work for all of us. And first of all, I would like to point that Lomonosov Moscow State University has been represented on Summer School Committee from the very beginning. And this is a university with great traditions, founded some years before. And it's really pleasure to take part in such an event for me, and I hope for my colleagues too. First of all, maybe it will be necessary to say some words about our university. My colleagues from different countries, they started this representation of the universities, and I'm proud that I have been personally involved in such kind of institution because according to the June information of this year, Moscow State University is one of the 100 more important research and educational institution in the world. I think that it's very important. And also our moderator said that my name is Yulia Kharitonova. I work at the university as a professor, and for some years I have been heading a special center for legal research on artificial intelligence and the digital economy. And this center was created by a directive from the rector of Moscow State University to provide an integrated approach to the scientific study of artificial intelligence. So we could work with really a huge number of different faculties. It will be mathematics, it will be neurobiologists, for example, also philosophers and psychologists, and we're all working on a global problem, applied research in this field of artificial intelligence. And collaboration makes it possible to see the solution needed right now at the particular stage of AI development. And according to this summer school session, we can evaluate and realize that since the first meetings on this summer school, we make some huge steps in our research, and all my colleagues who was there before this day, they can demonstrate it. It was really hard work for lawyers and for us, like people who are not involved maybe in just programming or algorithming, and in this case, we could do something for boosting our legislation. All the countries that were represented here and all the countries in the world, they are thinking about what should we do in this situation. Then we should apply artificial intelligence in our daily life, and also in different spheres of our life, on government management, on society life, daily society life too. But first of all, as a lawyer, I have to look to the law. And of course, it will be Russian, but not only Russian legislation, like the illustration of some theses about importance of the principles of regulating and developing AI applications, AI technologies, AI systems. The Russian law formulates the principles of national strategy for artificial intelligence development up to 2030, which include inter alia transparency as explainability of the artificial intelligence functioning and achieving results, non-discriminatory access of users of the products created with the artificial intelligence technology to information about the artificial intelligence algorithms applied in these products. The notions of explainability and non-discrimination of the artificial intelligence functioning are highlighted as constituents of the transparency principles, as you can see on the quote on the screen. Information disclosure is also stipulated by international acts and national legislation of many countries. These rules are, first of all, closely touch upon the issues of human rights and freedoms protection, like, for example, in the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, in Europe. In Russia, the human rights and freedoms protection and safety of the artificial intelligence functioning are stipulated in the strategy 2030, as was said, as separate principles. Also, they are closely connected to transparency. You see, it's the example, then the could realize that for lawyers, it's a huge step of understanding how does AI technology works. Similarly, non-discrimination results in providing protection of the human rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Russian and international legislation. The principle of safety of the artificial intelligence functioning is defined as an admissibility of using the artificial intelligence for purposeful incurring harm to citizens, to persons and juridical persons, entities, as well as prevention and minimization of risk of negative consequences of using the artificial intelligence technologies. So the transparency principle also allows achieving safety than using artificial intelligence. In the absence of a clear legal vision of the context of the principle of safety of the artificial intelligence functioning, we consider it important to define the notion of transparency and research and admissible limits of legal intervention into the technological sphere through regulatory impact. It's very important then our developers, our companies who are working with emerging artificial intelligence systems are interested in some kind of independence. And it means that they are not interested in straight legal rules. We discussed ethical problems sometimes, but now I think it's time to make some laws in this sphere, and it's kind of conflict between personal right fightings and also between interests of some kind of companies who works this artificial intelligence and make some experiments in this field. In the context of the artificial intelligence functioning, transparency may be viewed from the angle of technology, from the angle of ethics, and also from the angle of law. Interdisciplinary approach allows a critical view at the norms of proposal to be normatively formalized, given that complete technological transparency of the artificial intelligence is impossible. It is necessary to discuss the variants of managing policy for the algorithm transparency and accountability based on the analysis of social, technical, and regulatory problems created by the algorithmic artificial intelligence systems. Just the other day, a new version of Kandinsky generative AI program was announced, which allows you to create illustrations by description. So I decided to involve this AI in the creation of my presentation, and all the images, all the pictures you will see today during my lecture are created by Kandinsky T.T. And in this case, the AI visualizes its transparency in a certain way. You can watch it, but it's also important when it visualizes itself as a human. It was just a phrase, and AI generated such image like the first step. Of course, we can choose one of many, but it was the only first. And AI, according maybe to my data, my private data on my computer, because it uses cookies, of course, decided that it will be suitable. And it's extremely important, I think, because when we humans talk about artificial intelligence transparency, what we mean by this is that it will be clear to us why this or that decision, this or that image is presented. Or we will try to explain it to ourselves in familiar reasons, in humans' reasons. But it's not the same. The technology is not the person. We should understand it and should remember it all in all the cases. Explainable artificial intelligence is a research field that aims to make AI system results more understandable for humans. And they need it, like persons, like people, they need it for commercial benefits, for example, for ethics concerns, or for regulatory consideration. Explainable artificial intelligence is essential if users are know to understand, appropriately trust, and effectively manage AI results. Based on the Explore literature, the need for explaining AI system may stem from at least four some reasons. Also, it may appear that there is an overlap between the reasons from our standpoint that capture the different motivation for explainability. And lawmakers worldwide are trying to enshrine basic approach to explainability transparent AI in the acts. The notion of explainability and non-discrimination, moreover, of the AI applying highlighted as constituents of the transparency principle too. And I don't want to touch this problem about discrimination according to AI systems. It was a lecture, as I understand before, on these summer school events. But it's very important point. We should understand that it will be one of the steps for guaranteeing explainability, because if it's explainable, it couldn't be discrimination in using in application AI systems at all, because it's forbidden by law. In previous studies and lectures in this summer school and of my colleagues, and also that was read before this lecture by me, we have seen that opacity of algorithms can lead to intentional or unintentional discrimination of individuals. Therefore, disclosure of the details of discussing making comes under the control of fundamental human rights protection. The term explainable artificial intelligence was first coined in 2004 to describe that ability of the system to explain the behavior of AI-controlled entities in simulation games application. Many terms we discuss according to the AI lead us to the game development. While the term is relatively new, the problem of explainability has existed since the mid-1970s, when researchers studied explanation for expert systems. However, the pace of progress toward resolving such problem was slowed down as AI research and inflection point with the spectacular advances in machine learning. Since then, the focus of AI research has shifted toward implementing models and algorithms that emphasizes predictive power, while the ability to explain decision process has taken a backseat. Recently, XAI, like they say, topic has received renewed attention from academia and participations. Therefore, the social, ethical, and legal pressure calls for new AI techniques that are capable of making decisions explainable and understandable. Technically, there is no standard and generally accepted definition of explainable AI. Actually, this term tends to refer to the movement, initiatives, and efforts made in response to AI transparency and trust concerns more than to a formal technical concept. Now, I would ask you to answer with literally a couple of words. How do you personally understand the explainability or maybe transparency of AI? You can use chat box to share your opinion. And as always, this is not a test or an exam, but just an occasion for discussion. And I would like to ask you, please use the chat to answer. What is, on your opinion, explainability of AI? You can share your opinion if it's possible. Okay, let's wait just some minutes. Yeah, we've got first answer. Maybe somebody else wants to share his opinion or her. Something else. Okay. Okay. It will be interesting if you'd like to share your opinion after the lecture. Maybe your point will be not the same. But thank you very much to all of your responses for learning, of course, active interaction. There's the material, there's the lectures, and on its audience is the most productive time for me. And thank you so much. But I was ready for such kind of situation, so I decided to choose some words according to the literature about the explainable artificial intelligence to prove my position and maybe your opinions that was shared in the chat. I will not hide, it was really interesting points, and now we can compare your answers and your ideas with those expressed of the scholars. Researchers conducted a linguistic search to identify and record relevant terms across research communities that strongly related to the concept of AI. The goal of this analysis is to gain insights into how research communities approach explainability and to detect the main concepts. In your answers in the chat box, we can watch the same words, actually. Yeah, as a recent points, the word could shown in the screen provides the main flow, maybe the main stream of the ideas about explainable artificial intelligence, and allows drawing the big picture of this research field by highlighting the important related concepts. Important terms are ordered according to the frequency of its appearance as keywords in the surveyed papers, and after its filtering technical terms like deep learning, like decision tree, like sensitive analysis, they're here on the screen. But also, we should remember about one more problem that maybe wasn't discussed so deeply in legal research, in modern legal research, but it's really important point. For decades, artificial intelligence projects related or relied on human experience accumulated by engineers and were both explicitly elaborated and easily understandable. Significant progress in the sphere of artificial intelligence was achieved by using controllable learning system intended to repeat people decisions. It's my main point. We are just waiting that all the results of applying artificial intelligence will be understandable by people. For example, expert systems based on decision trees, you could just watch it on this cloud or what. Decision trees and perfect model of human decision making, hence natural, understandable both for developers and the users. The same is true for data tables. It's just an Excel tables kind of. However, after the leading methodology of artificial intelligence changing the paradigm for machine learning systems based on deep neural networks, novelties appeared. Essentials of comprehension was sacrificed to the rate of decision making, and the technology was called a black box, non-transparent for human comprehension, but extremely potent in terms of both results and learning in new spheres. Artificial intelligence uses deep learning, an algorithmic system of deep neural networks, which are generally non-transparent or hidden from human comprehension. It's just an algorithm without a guaranteed result. How does the non-transparency manifest itself, and what are its reasons? The main purpose of machine learning is teaching system of exact decision making, predictors capable to helping automate the task which otherwise people would have to perform. And now we can go to Kandinsky. But you ask me why a lawyer needs to understand these technicalities, these technical details. Look at the image of a hand with a smartphone created by the AI. It was just the task, a hand with a smartphone. Do you like it? What hand do you think is most appropriate for a human? 3 fingers, 5 fingers, but with some problems with the arm, or maybe more fingers. But at the AI point of view, it's great images. Of course, it looks like a joke for us, but research proposed to admit that the artificial intelligence is inside the social technical system, which mediates trust, and while increasing the reliability of the system to make this process less non-transparent for most observers. we thus increase trust of artificial intelligence. Could we trust to the system that can't even count our fingers? But it's really important point for decision-making artificial intelligence systems. Yes, in the context, exclusion of a human from the decision-making process adds trust to it, excluding the factor of subjectivity in the results obtained. We just say about objectivity in some minutes, but at the same time, according to my idea, the issue of trust depends not only on the ability for a human to interfere into the decision-making process of the artificial intelligence. At the modern stage, demand of explainable artificial intelligence is growing, and some researchers are asking a question. If everything we have is a black box, when it is impossible to understand the reason of values and to increase the system safety, if we get used to accept the answers of the artificial intelligence without explanation of reasons, we will not be able to detect when it starts giving wrong or manipulative answers. And just try to imagine the researchers vividly describes the dangers of non-transparent artificial intelligence, offering to imagine that in the nearest future, artificial intelligence may be mistaken in, for example, like a doctor in diagnosing illnesses in 5% of cases, which will result in mass operation of healthy people. Probably the same risk you can imagine when we talk about the potential obligation on applying AI to the work of a driver, of CEO, or company board, and even in designer or creator. The absence of the mechanisms to check the artificial intelligence model for deviations and to prevent such failures may lead to irreparable consequences. Thus, transparency and accountability are the tools facilitating making just algorithmic decisions, providing the basis for obtaining the opportunity to turn to a magnificent explanation, correction of means of identity drawbacks, which may lead to compensation process. Our law is transparency among such areas of concern in regulating artificial intelligence as maintain the balance between personal data protection requirements and the need to use them for training artificial intelligence systems. Defining the object and limits of regulating the use of artificial intelligence technology and robotics, legal delegation of decisions to artificial intelligence and robotic systems, liability for incurring harm using artificial intelligence and robotic systems. Of course, programmers have created many solutions for validating AI decisions, but this doesn't always comply with legal requirements, and we need to get some legal solutions in this area. As was shown above, a developer provides data but cannot control the criteria on which an artificial intelligence yield the results of a forecast. Similarly, sometimes it is not possible to develop a meaningful neural network. This is due to the difficulties defining input data and the factually uncertainty. Actually, the loss of control over artificial intelligence is based on the uncertainty of data, which the model interacts with. Are developers and the lawyers capable to reasonably intervening into the system functioning and contesting its conclusions if they don't comprehend the principles under those conclusions? Developers may point out that criteria for making decisions, but artificial intelligence may autonomously supplement the conditionally lacking data for formulating final decision. For example, a machine analyzes dot or pixels without knowing whether it's a color of skin or eyes. Manipulates situation with pixels, not the overall picture. That is, algorithmic and human projections and non-explainability of the decision made often exist in a latent form. This implies that a soulless, emotionless algorithm can still serve as an objective measurement for decision making, as it is void of personal subjective prejudice. If transparency per se is not inherent to the nature of algorithms under the condition that information is provided at the input of large artificial intelligence applications, then a question arises about the possibility of prioritizing the rules data analysis by the artificial intelligence algorithm. Notably, many jurisdictions stipulate data analysis and its limits in relation to personal data. In Europe and Russia, it is prohibited to make decisions based exclusively on automated processing of data, of personal data, first of all, which generate legal consequences for the personal data subject of otherwise affect the rights. Such cases include situations then the decision generating legal consequences for the personal data subject or otherwise affecting the rights and legitimate interests is made on the basis of exclusively automated processing of the personal data with the written concepts of the personal data subject. Transparency at the technology explainability and non-discrimination, as was said, depends on the quality of the data which the artificial intelligence system works. Researchers found that all popular facial recognition system most accurately recognize males with fair skin and make the most mistakes than recognizing black female. Actually, this provides that photos of black women are the least numerous in databases. Developers of such system are predominantly white men. So camera sensors was identified details in dark colors. The data quality problem is that the available data were not neutral, even if they could be considered representative. Facial recognition, like this system, uses many countries for identifying people, even for enforcement bodies. And it is provided that if you belong to a racial minority in one of these countries, the system will more often recognize you as a criminal. It's a legal problem, yeah? And according to my course in the university, I prepared some advice for my students. And on this slide, you can see the results of surveys of students from different faculties, not only the lawyers of Moscow State University, in several areas. It's just a part of this research, and I asked the students how they feel about the introduction of AI in various activities. And although, as you can see, many of them are not ready to see AI in responsible positions in government, corporations, or courts, but at the same time, the percentage of those who supported such an idea is important. And the number of people who are ready to accept the application of AI in crucial areas is growing year after year. That said, that you see two pies in the center with responses about the benefits of applying AI in courts. Many people believe that soulless AI will bring independence and neutrality to the jurisdiction, to the court, which all states and societies long for. You see, it's a trend. I think it will be much more stronger in a year, maybe. In general, we believe that approach focused on personal data is weak, as it is not consistent with the reality. In addition to the data submitted directly to the algorithm by its users, business should supplement these categories, this analytical data, more thoroughly describing various groups and making grounds for classification more clear. Hence, it is necessary to stipulate rules for identifying the quality, reliable, and neutral set of data in a situation when it is not possible to limit such set of data. The risk of unexplainable basis decisions of the artificial intelligence will have to be excluded by reinforcement learning and audit at the result obtained. This leads to a conclusion that one should not accept an algorithm explanation comprehensible for human when the black box method is used. But the algorithm disclosure will not have a legal sense in the case. It is impossible to teach an artificial intelligence system to understand ethical values. Lawyers can just list criteria to check that the decision of an artificial intelligence is unbiased. However, it is not always possible to put a human at the output of check the result. Hence, law may stipulate only the need of control on the part of software created by independent developers. In this regard, it seems hardly feasible to achieve the artificial intelligence transparency, not in relation to the system in general, but through explaining the logic of individual decisions. The methods proposed by authors include analysis of input data, statistical explanation, checking architecture or code, and statistical analysis, determine the sensitivity of personal data. On the contrary, it seems more feasible to require an open algorithm with indication of the general logic in decision making, And this system was adopted in California, USA in February 2020. The same approach we can see in the GDPR research, but at the same time, the requirement of absolute disclosure of the source code or the architecture or the artificial intelligence models used does not seem justified. In any case, such disclosure cannot be comprehensive for a number of reasons. Technologically, such disclosure is very costly and requires large resources. Publication of the source code may lead to violations of an intellectual property right or a trade secret. Such approach to transparency contravenes the current legal regime, which governs the constituents of a common artificial intelligence technology. This said, we consider convincing the position according to which artificial intelligence systems are protected, first of all, as a trade secret, as the attempts to protect artificial intelligence system in compliance with copyright and patent law encountered difficulties. The problem of granting copyright protection to the algorithm per se is due to its constant changing and complementing during self-learning and autonomous work. Also, disputable is the question of the creative character of the artificial intelligence origin as an object of legal protection. Obtaining patents for artificial intelligence system is also complicated. In the absence of a standardized approach of justification of individual and general decisions, one cannot answer the questions about who should the decision-making logic is disclosed to, the data user or subjects only, or all stakeholders, in what amount, and so on. We've got such a problem to discuss, but we've got some good ideas that it's necessary to do, as I understand. In our opinion, substitution of concepts may easily occur in this case. Transparency of decision-making by artificial intelligence is not associated exclusively with the transparency of goals set for the algorithm application. One should distinguish between the transparency of algorithm as the principle of regulating artificial intelligence and transparency of activity, state governments, civil circulation, or something like this, which is achieved partly with the help of artificial intelligence technology. Factually, the second aspect of automated data processing, together with the data quality, constitutes the transparency of goals and methods of using artificial intelligence. In that, the principle of transparency of the artificial intelligence functioning consistent, but is not equal to the notion of the transparency or activity. Lawyers should strive to transparency and explainability of the artificial intelligence functioning in a human comprehensible form in order to, inter alia, ensure the opportunity of the artificial intelligence systems user to object to the decision made. This issue is also related to defining the subject of liability for the decisions which may significantly infringe upon human rights, and like the conclusions of my research. That was the main part of this lecture. I'd like to highlight transparency as indispensable condition for recognizing artificial intelligence as trustworthy. Most of the debate around the artificial intelligence transparency from legal point of view is focused on data protection laws. We believe that the circle of this discussion should be broadened. Transparency and explainability of the artificial intelligence technology is essential not only for personal data protection, but also for other situations of automating data processing when in order to make a decision, the technological data lacking in the input information are taken from open sources, including those not having the status of a personal data storage. Legislator may only strive for introduction of a standard stipulating a compromise between the technology abilities and advantages, accuracy and explainability of its results, and the rights of the participants of civil relations. Introduction of certification of the artificial intelligence models obligatory for applications will solve the issues of liability of the subject obliged to apply such systems. It will be operators, it will be developers, it will be some commercial companies and so on. In the context of professional liability of professional subjects, such as doctors, militants or corporate executives, or even judges, it is necessary to restrict the obligatory application of artificial intelligence in sufficient transparency is not provided. The legal discussion should develop towards elaborating proposals to the content of the right to reject using automated data proceeding in decision making. And so I think it's time, and I would like to conclude my lecture. Thank you so much for your attention. I will be happy if you've got some or many questions, and of course, because I suggest they have no time, you could use a chat box, and I will be happy to answer your questions, communicate with you, and so on. So thank you so much, and have a good day.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a very knowledgeable session we had today. Thank you so much. Ma'am, I just wanted to ask you, Savina ma'am is joining, or
what do you mean? Sorry, I have some problems.
Actually, Savina ma'am has not joined. She's the second speaker now, so I just wanted to ask you.
Just a moment. Just a moment. I'll send her a message. It's a point to have a short break for changing the lecture. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Please
No
wait.
issues, no issues, no issues. Ma'am, your mic is muted, so please unmute your mic. Then,
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. It was
Hello,
not
hello.
allowed to switch on my microphone. This is why I was muted. We have a break, right, Julia? We have a short 5 minutes break.
I think it's depend on you. If you're ready, we could start. I spend a lot of time, so maybe it's not necessary because all our audience is online, so they
I
can
start.
get the
Yes,
break.
but I cannot switch on my presentation. Demonstration of screen is prohibited.
Yeah. I think it's possible now.
yes, ma'am, you can share your screen now.
Can you see my slides now?
Yes, ma'am.
But not full screen.
Yes. Just a moment. Yes, I did.
Okay, it's okay.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am glad to join this session. I was listening Julia with interest, and my topic related also to AI technologies, but from another side, from the view of intellectual property problems mostly of copyright management and AI technologies. In modern conditions of digitalization, which take place in various spheres of our life, of our society, in connection with the widespread use of information and telecommunication networks and related objects, the issues of legal protection of the results of intellectual activities acquire new meaning. Earlier, at the end of 20th century, it was relevant to include in the norms of intellectual property legislation new ways of use results of AI present. New objects of protection are emerging in new conditions of use of AI technologies, and often difficult to apply the traditional legal regimes of intellectual property rights that have been formed over the centuries, both in national and international legislations. It's no accident that the researchers rightly note that international legal regime allow us to widen the list of protected objects. For example, convention establishing the World Intellectual Property Organization name the list of protected objects. And this list of objects is open, which is due to permanent emergence of new varieties. The legal regime of these objects is first regulated at national laws and then at the international level. Thus, the legal protection of multimedia, internet site, three-dimensional digital models today is provided for in the legislation of many countries of the world. Today, however, intellectual property law is facing new challenges. The development of blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence systems, robotic production, MFT, etc., facing new challenges. Modern online services for depositing the results of intellectual property activities on the basis of blockchain technology. With their help, it's possible to carry out not only the registration of these objects, but also it's possible to manage exclusive rights, as well as provide an evidence base and protect them. Legal tech, law tech technologies are an effective tool in these cases. Actually, today humanity is experiencing the consequences of a third computer revolution. The first was in the 80s of the 20th century, when consumers began to actively use computers and consumers' behaviors model began to change in the relation to copyright and information. The second took place in 19th of the 20th century, when information and telecommunication networks began widely used, and the content posted in these networks, it began to spread around all the world. We are experiencing another revolution today, when computer systems began to create protected results themselves. Today, intellectual property law faces such challenges as development of blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and it's already becoming clear that these technologies will inevitably change their traditional industries. It's impossible to predict the result of the development of artificial intelligence and self-replicating machines. It can be even integration of human brains with computers, or significant increase in the capabilities of human brains due to biotechnology. As for impact of these new digital technologies on copyright, on the processes of management and copyright protection, the following should be said. Today, we are no longer talking about the fact that computer technology facilitates creativity and make it possible. This is already a past and experienced stage. Today, computer creativity possible, and this is creativity, of course, in some conditions, not in same way as we are speaking about creativity of human being. But recently, this issue has been discussed many times at various scientific conferences and forums, and this is because artificial intelligence very often used to create images, text, and we can find this text in the internet, and there are many examples of this examples of artificial intelligence result. I put two examples of different art directions existing in 20th century and 21st century, just to highlight that contemporary art is constantly becoming more complex, and new objects of protection appear. Artificial intelligence systems can create text, images, and other objects. Therefore, the issue of their protectability, as well as responsibility of the developers of the system, is being discussed. AI codes of ethics are adopted in many countries, but it's precisely legal regulation that it's needed. For example, an approach to artificial intelligence system as a source of increased dangers. And in the absence of appropriate legal norms, it's advisable to use the tort liability mechanism based on the analogy of the law. Because the main question with arouse this is a question about liability. In addition, in connection with the development of digital technologies in the doctrine, in lawmaking and law enforcement activity in recent years, the issue of possibility of creating the results of intellectual activity by artificial intelligence systems and its potential legal personality has been actively discussed. In the context of the development and widespread introduction of artificial intelligence systems into all spheres of our economy and society, the question of the prospects for the legal protection of the results created by artificial intelligence, as well as the expediency of such protection, becomes very relevant. As rightly noted by the number of researchers at present in Russia, in the context of digitalization, it's public relations related to information sphere are the impetus influencing the development of the concept of intellectual property rights. Artificial intelligence systems generate a variety of objects, including works that can receive actually copyright protection. Technologies for generating text, images, music have become so advanced that sometimes we cannot distinguish these results from the works created by the man. However, the question arises to whether such protection is consistent with the functions inherent to a copyright law traditionally. I put two main functions, in my opinion, on the screen. First function is stimulating the activity of the author, and the second, ensuring a certain balance between the interests of the author and society. An object that meets the science of copyright can be created, for example, by animal. In foreign literature, the example of creating a photograph by the monkey in the jungle is widely discussed. I heard this example many times on lectures in foreign university and also on summer schools of World Intellectual Property Organization. And in case of artificial intelligence, we have actually the same question. But there is a doubts not only about the possibility, but also the expediency of granting copyright protection to such objects. A similar situation occurs when some results created by artificial intelligence system. System itself doesn't need protection, but user of the system or creator of the system possibly allows to grant some protection. In this regard, many problematic issues arise. First, is computer creativity possible in principle? Can artificial intelligence create something really creative works? Or does it only process information without producing anything new? It seems that the second is more likely. at least for today's situation, devoid of imagination, where machine reproduces the categories and images embedded in by man. So there is no true creativity, the creation of something completely new that earlier didn't exist. Secondly, who should be stimulated? The developer of the artificial intelligence system or its user who gave it a certain algorithm or placed a certain amount of information in this system, spent money to create and to make the possible activity of the system. Thirdly, who should be recognized as the author of AI-generated content, the creator of this tool or its user? Can artificial intelligence have intellectual property rights? And finally, are objects created by artificial intelligence system subject to protection? And if so, which one? What kind of protection can be granted? Can be protected by under copyright or related rights or other rights. For example, we can provide some sui generis regime. It seems that there is no need to use the mechanism of copyright protection for this, because the results generated by artificial intelligence may very well be protected as objects of related rights if they correspond to the science of their predictability. For example, in Russian legislation, we can provide this regime-related right protection for databases or broadcasts or some other objects. Or maybe there is a need to introduce a special category of objects of intellectual property rights for these results created by AI system. Regime sui generis, the results created by artificial intelligence can be protected such as, for example, topologies of integrated circuits, selection achievements and know-how, which protected in Russian law as not traditional objects, sui generis objects, and possible to create some special rules about these results created by artificial intelligence system. Not only results similar to copyright protected objects, no, and also results similar to inventions, for example, to other intellectual property protected objects. Indeed, contemporary art is extremely complicated. Multimedia works, performances, interactive shows becoming very popular, and digital technologies, including artificial intelligence technologies, can really help in their development. However, it should be noted that they are only a tool. This is a tool in the skillful hands of the author, of a human being, which serves the realization of his or her creative plan. It helps to process a vast amount of information, process images and sound in a special way, for example. Since virtual and augmented reality technologies in the entertainment industry are becoming increasingly popular, the emergence of various kinds of complex objects is inevitable. Therefore, it's advisable to develop a more detailed, well-developed legal regime for them. when just the norm of Article 2040 in the Civil Code of Russian Federation devoted to complex objects. We have just this rule which can apply to the complex objects and not else. In addition, it should be said that digital technologies can contribute to the legal protection and use of works of art. With the advent of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies, artists, designers, musicians can safely sell their works in the digital environment on the internet. And for this, you don't even need to create something in the real world. The market for models, for example, digital three-dimensional printing models are gaining popularity. And NFT tokens, non-fungible tokens, allow you to earn thousands of dollars, euros on digital paintings, musical tracks, etc. in digital platforms. Such tokens are unique and they allow to fix a digital object in a certain objective form. You can draw, for example, the analogy with the original picture, which exists in one example. Basically, tokens are used in the computer games industry, firstly, but it's quite possible to use them in other areas, and we already have example in the field of art to confirm the possession of a unique original objects. Hermitage, for example, had deals with tokens, including art which presented in this museum. All information about the owner and his tokens is fixed in the blockchain register, and it's impossible to replace the data or erase the information. And it's given us new perspectives in the market of exclusive rights. This direction seems to be very promising at present. There is a need for regulatory consolidation of the possibility and procedure for the application of blockchain technology in the field of creative industries. In particular, the creation of a unified register for of copyright holders and the results of intellectual activities created in this area. Since blockchain technology allows to record and enter into database all completed transactions, it becomes possible to track both license agreements and the transfer of rights to the objects of intellectual property rights from one copyright holder to another. It's also possible to use blockchain technology to collect royalties. Also, very important direction. In today's digital world, there is not only the task of legal protection of intellectual property, but also the development of new ways of commercialization rights to it. This is very interesting questions which not described in very detailed way in our legislation and legislation of our countries. With regard to the use of artificial intelligence systems, including the creation of protectable results in accordance with the norm of Part 4 of the Civil Code of Russian Federation, it seems that the legislator should mainly resolve the issue of liability. At present, there are a tendency to implement such regulation through ethical standards. On this screen, there are examples of strategies and documented documents adopted not only in Russia, but also in China, Japan, USA. And this is a tendency to implement such regulation through standardization and adoption of ethical standards. Also, in Russia, the decree of president adopted in 2019 on the development of artificial intelligence in the Russian Federation, and the program of national strategy for the development of artificial intelligence for the period to 2030, adopted in accordance with it provide for the formation of ethical standards in this area. To implement this approach, the concept for the development of regulation in relations in the field of artificial intelligence and robotic technologies for the period up to 2024 was developed. And it was decided to develop a national codex of ethics in the AI sphere. In our country, this idea was created at 2022, and similar documents have been adopted in a significant number of countries. And this trend in the development of regulation of responsibility of developers of artificial intelligence system can be ignored. And also a number of technical standards has been adopted. You can see examples of these technical standards on the screen. There are more than 20 standards today, but in general, this is a huge program of adoption, and in general should be adopted more than 200 standards only in the Russian Federation. And you can see the content of one of these standards. For example, what we can see a classification of artificial intelligence system. On some parameters, type of activity, knowledge structure, control loop function, security, confidentiality, degree of automation, information processing methods, integration, complexity, architecture, specialization. And a number, as I said, a number of technical standards have also been adopted, and this is a real perspective to have much more kinds of these standards tomorrow. Nevertheless, it seems that legal regulation is needed in this area. For example, it's possible to approach the artificial intelligence system as a source of increased danger to apply the existing regime. No need to create something extremely new. The owner of which is liable to third parties for causing them the various types of harm. Despite the apparent difference in the nature of this phenomena, there are no fundamental contradictions there. And until the relevant legal norms are adopted, it's quite possible to use the mechanism of tort liability based on the analogy of law. A sufficient high degree of awareness and interest of potential buyers also serves to increase the efficiency of commercialization of exclusive right. It's enhanced in particular by the holding of intellectual property auctions The practice of live auctions of intellectual property has been existed since 2006 in the world. One of the most famous auctions organized in the United States by ICAP company, a patent company which is one of leaders in the field of brokerage services in the field of intellectual property law. This company organized ICAP Ocean Toma auction. The company positions itself as follows. They use the talents of experienced intellectual property monetization professionals to match buyers and sellers for the sale of patents and other intellectual property assets. ICAP has successfully transferred patents on behalf of well-known organizations such as Intel, Xerox, Alcatel, and specialists of this company believe that organization and conduct of such auctions not only increases the transparency of a market, but also provides an opportunity to invest in unique technologies. We can see the link to the site. You can read more about this company and about auction of intellectual property. There is a lot of information, also statistical information. And the example of this auction exists also in Russia. In Russian Federation, we have Rusinpro. Similar practices are also being introduced in the field of commercialization of innovations. For example, Rusinpro provided some opportunities for establishing personal contact between copyright holders and such name business angels, people who wish to invest to innovating companies, and also government officials obtaining maximum income when selling a lot. Organizers and partners of this auction our commercial and industrial, the Chamber of Russian Federation, with the support of Center for International Industrial Cooperation. Also Association of Technical Universities, the Russian branch of International Licensing Society, Russian Franchise Association, and our companies were interested to give a start to this auction. And the first auction of intellectual property was held in December 2012 in Moscow at the site of Chambers of Commerce and Industry of the Russian Federation. The second auction was organized by the Bauman Moscow State Technical University, and industrial property objects protected by national patents of the CIS member states, Europe, US, were put up for auction. Participated representatives of 18 countries. Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Moldova, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Russia, Bulgaria, Belgium, Germany, Greece, Israel, India, China, US, France, and other countries. And during the auctions, successful auctions of lots in the field of housing and communal service, energy conservation and production, processing and transportation hydrocarbons took place. At the third auction of intellectual property at the site of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Russian Federation, 35 lots from the following industries were presented: mechanical engineering, agro-industrial complex, electrical machinery and equipment, medicine, information, telecommunication systems, mining, processing of minerals, chemical industry. And for the first time, representatives of Finland, the Middle East and North Africa took part in its work of this auction, which became possible thanks to synchronous online participation via internet. During the auction, 2 lots in the food and chemical industries were successfully auctioned. Today, instead of live auctions, the practice of creating electronic platforms and online exchanges of intellectual property has become widespread. In Russia, for example, it's also very important to create a single communication platform through which it will be possible to conduct transactions for the acquisition of exclusive right and conclude licensing agreement. Therefore, the decree of the President of Russian Federation 2021 was created the Russian Center for the Circulation of Rights to the Results of Creative Activity. You can see the link to the site of Russian Center for Circulation of Rights to the Results of Creative Activity. This is Russian alphabet domain, and this is why the link looks like this, but it's possible to open. I checked it before the lecture. And this is an all Russian public state organization. This is a unique example of co-founding this kind of organization together the state and the private business. The powers on the founder on behalf of the Russian Federation are exercised by the Ministry of Digital Development, Communications and Mass Media of the Russian Federation. Another founder is the association called National Coordination Center for Processing Transactions with Rights and Objects of Intellectual Property. This center improves the regulation of the circulation of rights to the results of creative activity, including in the scientific and technical sphere, stimulates and development of science and entrepreneurship, develops export potential, create conditions for self-realization of the citizens, of persons, and the development of talents. This is mostly important functions of copyright law, as I said before, to stimulate creativity of person. And the center acts as the operator of a public network platform for managing rights to the results of intellectual activities, which allows the development of services for managing such rights in the digital environment, information and telecommunication structure. This public network platform was created in 2017 at the initiative of the founders and includes more than 30 nodes, including government agencies such as Intellectual Property Rights Court, Rospatent, Rosstandart, Roscosmos State Corporation, Skolkovo Foundation, and other innovation companies. Taking into account the number of network nodes, RSIS is one of the world's largest corporate blockchain networks in the field of intellectual property, uniting public and private participants. those who are directly involved in the creative business, owners of video production studios, theater and film directors, producers, creators of show, advertisements, promotional videos, podcasts, video games, and other multi-part creative projects can purchase really made music tracks, samples, beats, and other objects with the help of digital platform IPEX, created by the center. This is digital platform, very new, and the right holder can place his products in the online storefront and decide for himself at what price and under what conditions he is ready to grant the rights to use it. This is online vitrine, such example of online vitrine, where buyer can see what he wants to buy and can find a suitable creative object. The creator of creative projects who needs musical content doesn't need to think about the clearing of rights. He immediately acquires a license to use it, which is very convenient. In addition, digital services are created to simplify the rights management process for the copyright holders and give him the opportunity to monetize the results of his creative activity. It's possible to give money. Of course, this license should be paid, and it can be controlled due to blockchain register existed as a part of this platform. The idea of creating a single exchange of rights to innovating objects of exclusive right, inventions, utility models, industrial design is very timely. It's already being implemented in some countries. I saw these examples abroad, for example, in Singapore, in China, South Korea. Such products are designed to ensure the operation of market of exclusive right, to carry out the effectiveness of the use of these protected objects. And also WIPO participating in this activity, we can find the platform WIPO Match. Finding the necessary funding is also the urgent task for the offer. Financial issues are very complex in copyright sphere because there is no patent, there is no certificate, no document which helps us to understand who is the holder of copyright holder and who is the author. This is why such kind of online platforms are very timely. We can contact, we can provide communication between copyright holder and buyer due to this online platform. WIPO Match, we can see the link to the site of this platform, allows right holders to engage with potential investors in order to better realize the potential of industry and the private sector for economic, social, cultural development of developing countries, the least developed countries, and countries with economies in transition. WIPO is the facilitator of this cooperation and promoter of successful collaboration, which is very important. when we use these platforms allows online exchanging, the questions arising how to confirm the existence of an exclusive right to the results of intellectual activities and objects. This question becoming very relevant. The legal regime of the objects specified in Article 1225 of the Civil Code of Russian Federation differs significantly, therefore, the composition of documents confirming the existence of rights to them also has significant differences. For objects of patent law, trademarks, selection achievements, the legislator provides for the need for registration by a specifically authorized federal executive body. The document on state registration, patent, for example, confirms the ownership and exclusive right. As for the objects of copyright and related rights, the legal regime doesn't imply registration or compliance with any formalities. This is paragraph 4 of Article 1259 of Russian Civil Code, and also paragraph 2 of Article 5 of the Berne Convention for protection of literary and artistic works. And therefore, the person indicated as the author on the original or copy of the work, or otherwise in accordance with the law, is considered as the author, unless proven otherwise in the court. In this regard, in order to confirm the authorship, is sufficient to present the original or a copy of a published work indicating the author's name and copyright information, minimum of information. In addition, the existence of copyright or related rights can be confirmed by notarial acts, by some notarized copy. There are some practice about it, but in digital world, very urgent to have some evidence in a digital sphere, in telecommunication networks. And this was a one approach to this authorization in WIPO. WIPO created a service called WIPO Proof, but today is discontinued. WIPO Proof provided a data and time stamped digital fingerprint of any file, proving its existence at specific point in time. This service was launched in 2020, following a review of the program as a part of WIPO's planning and budget exercise. It was decided to discontinue this service, but existing tokens generated by the system still functioning, and they will be functioning for 5 years. As per service specification, the tokens are stored by WIPO for 5 years from the date of their creation. Will exist, and there is no option to renew and extend this period. So it's suggested to download the token and store it with the original file at the earliest convenience. In Russia also exist some services. These services such as WIPO Proof. This service provides National Intellectual Property Register. of intellectual property register has become operating in the basis of blockchain technology. The Federal Service for Intellectual Property, Rospatent, as well as Ministry of Communication and Mass Media of Russian Federation, fully supported this idea to create this service. The goal of the project was to create a simple and understandable mechanism for claiming their rights online and further using intellectual property. With the help of this register, everyone able to declare rights on the website. And main principles are voluntary openness, accessibility, and the developers of NRIS have set themselves the goals of covering all objects of intellectual property rights in the regime, including trademarks, inventions, copyright-related right-protected objects, all kinds of possibly created objects. Currently, there are various online services for the authors, copyright holders, and users in this platform. I put on the slide some examples of the services. For example, service Deposit Online. It's possible to receive certificate on the file uploaded to this platform. And this is evidence of existence copyright protected object on the certain moment of the time. In addition, a special Art Cloud service has been created, designed to create an efforts for portfolio to help photographs, models, persons who use their works in the online environment. When using it, it's also possible to obtain evidence for each file containing images. When uploading the image, all information about it and the authors, as well as the data, time of uploading, are recorded in the IP chain distributed ledger. The file is uploaded in encrypted form to a secure virtual storage with the ability to provide access to it on conditions created by right holder. To ensure the safety of images, blockchain technology and artificial intelligence system are used, which guarantees the immutability and safety of works. Each file is deposited with the assignment of a unique identifier for it. It's also possible to provide a service for issuing a creative passport that allows you to identify authors and other copyright holders on the result of intellectual activity, which the assignment of a unique name identifier to the authors, International Standard Name Identifier Register. Sometimes very difficult to find the author, the right holder, and this is why we have, for example, orphan works, and we have a problem what to deal with them. And this idea of international standard name identifier, this problem is can be solved. Another resource that provides the opportunity to register the results of intellectual activity is IREC. It can be also used to deposit the result, copyright protected work, for example, with the issuance of a digital certificate. It allows to make audit of intellectual property rights, exclusive rights, as well as the protection of intellectual property rights with the provision of an appropriate evidence base. Also, important services for legal protection are possible in these platforms. For example, anti-piracy. Anti-piracy content protection system allows you to track the placement of the work in the internet and automatically send pre-trial claims to violators. The system is implemented on the basis of artificial intelligence and works with the main objects of copyright: audiovisual works, images, musical works. Automated protection of digital content allows you to monitor networks, marketplaces, social networks, file sharing sites, and other popular resources, find illegally posted content in the internet, and receive detailed reports, identify the owners of resources on which content is posted without your permission, and send them claims. It's possible to record violation and after it sue the violator. Also, this is not the single regime, not the single service for such kind of activities. I can provide also example from WIPO. WIPO adopted WIPO Alert online platform, to which WIPO member states can upload information about internet sites and applications that violate national copyright laws. Also, this is very useful information for right holder, and in different countries I saw also examples of such platforms. For example, in South Korea exists online platform called ICOP. ICOP, also like anti-piracy, allows to find the violation in the internet and to claim to violators before the issue in the court. For implementing and protection of intellectual property rights, these services are very important, and I believe that based on the analysis of international and foreign experience, it's possible to encourage authors and other copyright holders to carry out actions with the help of legal tech, low tech technologies. It's there are many tools allows copyright holder to use the rights effectively, and to find the violators, to protect copyright works very effectively. It needs just activity from the side of copyright holder. But there are many possibilities in modern digital worlds for effective protection, effective commercialization of copyright rights, exclusive rights. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, feel free to ask, please. Dear colleagues,
are there any questions, anyone?
I put my email, and I can send presentation for all participants of summer school. Please feel free to write, and I want to discuss this issue with everyone who wishes. Thank you for attention.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being with us and sharing the knowledge with us. And Now we are calling our third speaker of this session, Sofia Filipova ma'am, on the topic Digital Transparency and the Structure of Society, from formal equality to the social credit system. Ma'am is the Doctor of Law, Associate Professor, Department of Commercial Law and Foundations of Law, Faculty of Law, Lomonosov Moscow State University. She was born in Siberia, graduated from Kemerovo University, Faculty of Law in 1997. She studied at the Graduate School of Thomas University and defended her PhD thesis in 2001. Since 2009, she has been working at Moscow State University at the Department of Commercial Law. She defended her doctoral dissertation in 2021 on the topic Legal Acts in Civil Law. She is the author of more than 250 scientific papers on the different issues of civil law. She combines uh, academic career with legal practice and expert works. Welcome, ma'am. Please proceed with the session.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I'm going to start. Will you tell me, is it good? Are you, can you see my presentation now or no? Will you tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's good. But if I, of course, okay, I'm going to start. And now the topic of my speech now is digital transparency and the structure of society. For me, it's very interesting problem. Now it is one of the topic of my investigation, because now I think that the modern society is changed by using technology, by using artificial intelligence and different way of control the people behavior. And I try to recognize what is the flow of digital transparency by the this status and by the capacity of the people. And my no, it's a very interesting problem, and now I don't think that now I have every result of my my research finished, because now I'm going to only continue my research. But I think now I think it would be interesting for me, and I believe that it would be interesting for you to discuss with me. I do believe that you're going to not only listen but discuss with me, because for me it's very interesting, really. And let's know what I'm going to speak with you, what I'm going to tell to recognize with you. The first problem which we're going to start would be social credit system. Now it is you can find it in China. Now it is one of the discussable things, and I am going to present you a different point of view on this this system, because some people in East think that it is normal, it is part of our reality, and the other part of the world, for example, most of Western people think that it is terrible, and we are going to discuss whether it's terrible or whether it's good. What is it? No, it's one point of our speech. The other, then we are going to thinking about the problem, what is the state and the individual, and what feature of the relationship between the state and the individual, and where is the border between the state and individual, what is possible to do and what is impossible to do, whether there is something that is impossible and or there is no, and it is only power by the government, and it can be used whatever they want. Then for me, it's very interesting problem. And firstly, I began to start by this problem, but then I decided that no, it would not be rather understandably for my audience if I start by the problem. But for me, it is the most important things in our speech, and I will discuss it is what is equality? What is equality by the philosophical origin? And I'm going to present you my idea. I don't know whether do you like it or not, that equality is only idea, philosophical, and now you can't find equality in real life. And I'm going to suggest you to think about whether it is necessary to have the equality or not. Then I'm going to speak about legal capacity of the individual person, and I'm going to speak with you about the problem whether it is equal capacity by individual person or not, and what does it mean that some people have more right and some people have few right. What does it mean for us? And then the last point of my speech would be about influence of behavior of legal capacity by the activity of the person of their capacity. And for me, I was surprised when my investigation showed me that now there are very many ability to have some influence by the behavior to their capacity by the individual person. For me, it was very interesting and surprisingly for me. And then for make my speech more active, more interactive for you, I'm going to suggest you some questions, but and then I'm going to suggest you to vote in the special website, but the problem that this website is denied in Russia. That's why the part of my audience which stay in Russia could not take part in my vote, and they can only observe the result of my vote. It is my attempt to show you what is inequality in real life. I choose this website for demonstrate for make you your own experience to feel in what does it mean when somebody can have some opportunity and other can't. And it is I'm going to suggest you to do that, and then I do believe that we can discuss about it. We can discuss about your feeling. What do you feel when you can't take part in the vote when other people can? It is very interesting for me. It's very interesting experience, not only for for have a result of the voting, but as a to take part in the social experiment, and for recognizing what does it mean that there is inequality in real life. No, let's do that. I think it's the plan is presented by me, and now let's start. This is you can see the definition and explanation of social credit system by the official person in China. They said that this system based on Chinese traditional, and now it can use by because there is big data and artificial intelligence which can collect very many different research, different search about the behavior of the citizen and make the point and run for a person in the ranking where you can have more or less position. For the official in the China, it make their society to be more honesty, harmony, and it make the population more politely for each other, and they make the relationship between the state and citizen more clear and more transparent, with the topic of our discourse today. And the social credit system can make realize the Chinese dream about the open society where it's clear the behavior of each person. I think when in literature it is criticized this system of ranking compare people discussed, sometimes they forgot that this system includes not only the citizen but the government establishment or other establishment by officer and anybody who live in China have to learn that their behavior would be checked and would be collected and would be analyzed. And it is not only for citizens, it is for everybody and for state too. It means that if some official person makes something wrong and makes some crime, he could be he could be catched, and their behavior would be controlled by the different way to investigation their behavior by artificial intelligence. And when we speak about this system, we must understand that in ideal picture, it means that every citizen in the country learn and know that each step in their life would be recognized by some device, some artificial intelligence and camera, and etc., and would be analyzed by making their status in the system of credit system, where the good behavior would be make some benefits in your social life, and your bad behave or something acts which is wrong, is not maybe something is forbidden or something is illegal, would be not punished by really, as for example you would not be take a prison. You can be, but now we speak not about the prison, about punishment as official, but it would means that your behavior is not good and you would have some disability, for example, some you would be less some opportunity which you can have in real life if you don't do such anything. And it is not only for individual. I'm going to repeat you. It is for every part of Chinese society. It make a transparency not only as a big brother which control each step in your life, but it is like a ambient, like a sphere where you can live, and you can know that not only you, but you and your neighbor and your teacher in your school and anybody else, and maybe everybody in your country would be controlled. And it means for the idea of this conception, it means that it could be stimulate citizens to good behave. For example, if you learn, if you know that something of everything that you think would have some consequences, and you would not punished. I think that not punished as we can ordinarily think that it is about a court, about the solution, something else. It means that, for example, you could not use, for example, some good school for your children. You can't find some good opportunity for you and for your children, or you can't travel, for example. Is it can you see that impossibility to travel on the play is punishment? Of course you can't, because everything is good, you can live, there is no court where written where you recognized as guilty or something else, but you have some point. It is your passport where you have some note, and if you have no enough point in your rank, it means that some opportunity you can't use. Only that. Formation of this social credit system in Chinese. Now I present you the only modern part of the system, but you can understand, you can realize that this system based not only the document of different official legislative, but I think it is the most important things for us. Recognize that the base, the origin of this social credit system is the religion, is the Confucian religion, where the idea of transparency and the trust, the belief to the people, to each other, and control each other is make the part of this way of mind, way of thinking, way of living. I think that's why I think it's very important things for us to recognize what is the social credit system, because if, for example, if you live in I don't know, in France or in Italy or anywhere else in Europe, and try to understand what does it mean when each your step in your living would be caged, would be safe, and would be controlled. It make you recognize that it's terrible, because your point of view other. You have other tradition, you have other way of living, and for you it is impossible to be so controlled by a government, because for example, for Western people, it is the idea of privacy. It is very, very important thing that I have my property life, my private life. It is my sphere of my living, where nobody could control my behavior. But China is the other country. It is the other way of living, and you see, it was known that more than more than 2,000 years ago, it was first step in development of Chinese citizen when there was a system of control the neighbors, and they have to some group of neighbors, and each other control the behavior of the member of this group and make and correct the behavior if it was wrong. It is normal for them. It is not normal for many people in other countries, but it's normal for them. It is very, very important idea for me, and I'm going to come back to this idea sometimes later. Now, if we only try to recognize what is a social credit system formate in modern society, we can realize the first step when the first year of the 20th century, when there appears the first document where was written that it would be good if would be make the unique, the general base of behavior of every Chinese citizen. Then, and I think it is a very important step. It is the first years of our century, when it was some document which conserve and make the base of financial information about Chinese citizen, which include firstly only financial information about some relationship with credit establishment, about the loan, about the money, and it make them to recognize where the person can receive money in bank or not. And I want to pay your attention on this moment, because it was only the first year of 21st century, because in Europe, in Italy, in Germany, and other countries, their attempt to collect credit history was made very early, and I think in 40 or 50 50th years in 20th century. It's more than 60 years ago. But as you know, nobody says that in Europe there is a big brother which controls every sphere of life, etc. But the problem appear only in Chinese social credit system, and for me it's very strange because as I see, the first step of this credit system was only is financial sphere. It's only about the something very normal, something very ordinary. For example, in Russia there is a legislative about credit history. Now it is very it's very normal when most of people in Russia have their credit history, which you can use when you are going to receive money in bank. For example, you have buy something and you're going to have money in bank, and you are going to offer to have some credit in your bank, and you would be checked by your credit history. And if there is some problem, for example, if you have many credit and you don't pay a bank in their period, and you have some punishment by your illegal behavior, you would be denied, you would be refused by your offer, or maybe the interest of the bank would be more than ordinary it is for each people which could not have some problem with their credit history. You see, it means that no, I think in this step there is nothing strange for us. For example, as I know, the most country in Europe, and I think that most countries in the world have some general base of information by the behavior in the credit establishment, in bank, etc. It's normal because why it's normal? I think it's normal because the economy of the country can't have too much situation when the credit would not pay it in time. You know that one of the causes of the crisis in 1908 was the problem with the credit, where some very many banks were bankruptcy, and it means that very many problems with employer, etc. And you see that it's normal. I think it's normal for everybody. And now when we can collect, and when we can collect and receive the information about your behavior in the obligation, different obligations, civil obligation, it's very normal to use this information for make the discipline, the system of complete pay money and make the obligation is better. And then I think the most discussable step in this formation was 2014. It was circular plan for the construction of social credit system. It was a very no, I don't know what would be so discussable in the legislative the last few years, because when I have my investigation about this problem, I saw very many articles and books where the system criticized. What was the most important principle of social credit system? As you understand, I think you have recognized it, that the system based on the opportunity to collect the behavior of the Chinese citizen by the camera, by the analyze their behavior in computer and internet, and by their analyze the behavior in the shops, etc. The first step that this system is generally it means that it includes not only person, individual, but everybody, and it means that an individual person and the companies and government establishment, etc. And the first, I think, most important principle of this social credit system. Then the second one, that your behavior would have some restriction if you have some wrong point of your behavior, or you have some benefit if your behavior is good. It is the second one. And the third one, and it is as a red line, you can find it in the circular, this idea that this system based on the culture of Chinese society, it is based of traditional, of honesty, and it is very important for them that it is not only influenced by the Western society or something else. If in Russian, it's very now it is very popular idea that there is some cultural individual base for the country, for each country, and each country can be a base, and you can't make the country to deal with the other traditional by the other countries. Now in Russia, it's very popular, and our president says it's very often that there is not only one center of world, that very many different cultures in the world, and each culture can the citizen in the different culture can make their history and the economic and the law as it needs to be it's based on the traditional. No, let's try to recognize what is the problem. For me, it's very interesting problem. That firstly, the first step which we must recognize that the social credit system can be only in the situation when there is an artificial intelligence which would make this ranking where there would be note by the every person, and it can be make manual by a person, by some government or anybody else, because it's necessary to have a very many analyzed by behavior and each person, and of course it can be made only by the information technology. Then big data, of course, you know how many people live in China, and it means that for make general ranking by the person and make the social credit system with join every people who live in China, it means that it's necessary to analyze a very big data of information, very big massive of information. Of course, it's necessary to have special technologies. And you saw in my presentation, of course, most discussable person who recognize any, as you understand, very often it is Orwell and his novel, because it is it is a story about Big Brother, and they told that it is like a Big Brother, like a control every sphere of life. It is impossible. It is equality. What is the right of it, etc. And I want to ask you, it is a very interesting question for me. Was it really control and interruption of your privacy, or it is the way of normal? I don't know. Now in China, you have blacklist and red list. Blacklist consists of the person and citizen which are a good person. Red list for good person and blacklist for bad person, you can't have any trust to their person, and they have some limitation. What kind of limitation? For example, they can't have some job, some position. For example, some position in some sphere where is the good profession for the job, it is impossible to have some position. Firstly. Secondly, they have some more attention to the customs or any other official control, because this person seems as if you can't believe to him. It refused to buy some tickets, for example, a ticket to railway, not every ticket, but some kind of tickets, some kind of tickets to high class to railway trip, or for air trip, you can't buy any tickets. You can't reserve some hotels, some restaurants, etc. And for me, it's very interesting that your children can't study at the private school. For me, why it is very strange for me, because your children have no mistaken their behavior. For what? Why they are punished if they don't do anything in their very few life? It's very strange. But no, it is only my opinion. Maybe I can't understand something in this system. And as I understand, this note of this behavior put in the passport of a citizen, and when a person wants to receive some service, some public service, it is necessary to introduce a passport, and it would be denied if you have no enough punct in your rank. Now, as you understand, there is two point of view on this social credit system. One of them internal in the Chinese, and you can. It's very strange for me. For example, it's very strange, but more than 80% of citizens, Chinese citizen, the population, accept the system, and they think that it is good because it means that their good behavior would be would make them some benefit, and because this way of living is normal for them, it means for them that they would have some benefit by their behavior without doing anything special. And they think that it's good. And firstly, and secondly, the information which I find, and for me it's very interesting, that the satisfaction by the using the social credit system is grow by the making some technical progress, and when some mistaken, some broken disappeared in the system. And if the first years by using this system, there was about 20% person who don't agree with the system, and they think that it is they was unsatisfactorily by the system. But now in some sphere, for example, in financial sphere, it is about 96% by the population. I think it's a very, very many people who agree with the system, and it means that it is really based on the traditional and the feeling of the normal life by the Chinese citizen. And by the way, if you try to find some information about the system in literature in Europe, you would be very surprised, because how many different criticisms you can find in the literature, in the article in Western published. Because they told that the social credit system refused and broken most of basically liberal liberal values by the person. It interrupt their privacy, and it is social control system. It is it's very interesting for me. This the last sentences in this slide, that it is not only a Western point of view, but this is the investigation by ASEAN Institute of Society of Policy Structure, and it means that interesting. I think it's very interesting that indoor and outdoor, it is a very different point of view on this system. I tried to speak with some people, with Chinese people, and ask them about their feeling about the system, and they told that they don't they don't feel that it is something about their privacy, and it is control of their privacy, because it is only technologies. It is not as if you are in your bedroom and there is anybody who control what do you do in your bedroom. It is not things like this. It is only the system by the technology which can save your behavior and generally analyze your behavior in your normal life. And they told me that it make their life more safety and more it means that they are live in a contact with the state, and they think that is good. It's strange, I think, but it is. Let's now, as I suggest you, there is some opportunity to vote. Now I'm going to describe it, and just now I'm going to do that. What now? You can go to the website Menti.com. I am going to repeat you. If you live now, if you stay in Russia, it is denied in Russia now this website, and you can't use it. But if you are abroad, for example, anywhere else, you can go to this website, and you can see the question which I'm going to ask you. There is 4 questions, and you can choose one of these 4 answer on this question. You can do that, and then if now you are in Russia, you can do that, but there is some answer, and if you want, you can answer me in the chat, and I would see, and I would tell what is the word by the people who are in our audience in Russia. I'm going to invite your voting if you want to do that, of course, and then I'm going to present your result of your voting. Now I'm going to ask you, what do you think about this social credit system in Chinese? Do you think that it is a good idea because it can a person to recognize that their active and good behavior would be valued by the government and make our life better? The first one. The second one, you agree with those investigate and those who lives in Europe, and so think that this is a way of restriction of natural human rights. And then I can suggest you that for you it is the interruption of the private life of a person because of control by everything which is which will make new life would be safe and control and it is the third one. The fourth one is that now we live in the modern society where there is very many devices, and there are very many technologies used, and it is only one of the very many different technologies is normal, our part of our normal life. Now I am going to show you the result of our vote, and just now I'm going to do that. Now you can see that the first one, now you can see the vote of our audience. That now the first one, let's continue. Let's wait on some second. I don't know how much because let's continue. Now we can see, because for me it's very good, because of course I try to make my relationship with you objective, but of course I have my opinion, and it is as if I view you, and if I vote in this question, if I do that, I think for me it is it is my choice. I agree with my audience that the first one is the good. It's nice. Thank you. Let's continue our discussion. And now I don't know whether you want to answer me or no, but as I told you, as I have told you, that it was some experience, some test for a person who is in Russia. Now, as I see some people in my audience in Russia, and I think, would you tell me what do you feel when you can't take part in the vote by the deny? What is your feeling in the situation when some ability, some very simple ability, is denied for you, is restriction, is refused for you? But for me it's very interesting that not only for your mistake, not only for you some problem in your behavior, but the problem of your, for example, your country, other people, etc. If anybody can make me the propose what was the feeling, and you can make me some information in chat, and I'm going to explain and comment your thinking about it. But now let's continue, and I'm going to find that now I see your chat, and if there's something appear, I would comment this one. Let's continue. Let's continue. And now we see what we can see. As my opinion, as a result of my investigation, that the development of a relationship, or there is some minding in the chat. I see. No, I know. How it's very interesting comment. I'm going to make you my comment too. In Russian, some people in Russia tell me that they can use a special device for have no restriction, and to take part in my vote. For me, what does it mean for me? It means that if you have some abilities, some skills for fight against restriction, you can do that. You do that, and it is an interesting part of our thinking about this situation. It means, what does it mean for me? It means that if a state makes some limitation by something for a person, and if he can, some technologies opportunity to make something which forbidden to him, he would do that. What does it mean? It means that we can see some conflict. For example, in this situation, it is only a model for demonstrate you the system of sociologists feeling by the restriction, for example. And you see that it is your wish not follow by this restriction, but make something against them. It's interesting. I think so. It's very interesting, Daniil. Thank you for you. Of course, yes. Daniil write me that it isn't forbidden to use VPN in Russia. That's why when he use VPN, it looks like he is looking for something, some way for make what he wish. And it means that sometimes restriction influence have some influence on the behavior, but not this straight way as it was in plan of the government. Thank you very much. It's interesting for me. I'm sorry. Let's discuss about relationship between state and individual. We can see that the development of the relationship consists of, for example, 4 parts. The first one, it is like, you see, it is the system of social contract. It is, for example, Rousseau says about social contract, about the system when individual have a freedom and he divides his freedom. He has some limitation of his freedom by the society, and society which given by him, by the government, by the state, and it is a contract, and individual is free by his liberty by the nature, and he have some limitation of his liberty by receive as safety and the arm and some government establishment by state. It's the first one. The second one, it is the state welfare. It means that everybody can receive whatever they want, and the state give them whatever they want. That is the second step by the development, the relationship between citizen and state. And you see that now it was recognized that if this way of living we use, it means that it make us some ecological problem by because the research of our planet is not a limitation. This third step is a paternalist state. It means that state take care about the citizen, especially it is like for example, if a person have some inability, it can some opportunities, addition opportunity, for example, for study at the university, for receive some money by the government, etc. And the last, now we can see that it is the last step in our development in our country is nanny state. It is a state which take care about each step in our life, and you can see it in the pandemic, in COVID, when government take care about healthy, about you behave, is it possible to smoke or is it impossible to smoke, what is dangerous for you, etc. And you see that influence by the government on the life, on the ordinary life by the citizen becomes stronger and becomes more closely by the people. Oi, what? And now I'm going to ask you whether there is equality by the people or no. No, now you can see on my presentation the picture where this very famous Francis Revolution ideas about liberty, equality, etc. And the question for you is that is a people equality by their nature or not, or is it possible to be equality only by the nature? Isn't impossible, but you can be you possible to be have equality by their right, or legal equality is can't be without economic equality, and these point of view are presented in literature, and it's very interesting for me. I am going to pass this because it's the time now. I'm going to finish my discourse, and I don't tell you everything that I want. But no, now I'm very thesis, very short way. Because it is now you see that if I want to make my speech short, I can tell you that in philosophy there are very many investigations by the equality, and you can see that very many research which show us that inequality is a part of normal life. It is a part of normal organization of society. There is a list of investigation, different time, they live in different time, and they saw that some of them some people have inequality by their nature, and we can't do anything, and this stratification of the society is normal part of our reality. In Russia, and not only in Russia, we can have some different way of legal capacity of individual historic mentor. You can see that legal capacity of slaves, it's not in Russia, it is because in Russia there was not slaves, but for example, in Roman law, you know that it was slaves. Slaves, it is one of the way of special capacity. Married women, we know that there is some limitation right of married woman. Monks, you can see that there was some limitation by their lives, etc. It means that it's normal that sometimes there is some limitation by the right of some people. Now it is learned that there is some limitation, for example, for people who committed crime, who if a person murders somebody, he can't receive property by the victim, etc. In Russian, there is some special way of like ranking. It is not similarly like a Chinese ranking, but it is seems as if it would be. Now you can see it, but suddenly my time is finished. I see that now it is the time to finish my speak. That's why I can't tell you more about this part of the social ranking in Russia, but you see, you can understand it, you can recognize it in my list. And now, if you want, you can tell, no, I think you have no time for making something. That's why, for conclusion, I can only ask you some questions which you have no answer, and I have no answer. I think I don't know whether you have this answer. No, is it possible to measure our society by one measure? Is it possible to make that legislative would be the same in the different country, or we must to follow the tradition and the custom which create in the different country? And the second that what do you think about is it normal to have some different capacity by the behavior of the person? No, is the last question, is the digital transparency evil or good? And I have no time for answering this question. That's why it is a question only for you, for thinking about it. And if you want, you can write me, and I'm going to yes. Yeah, I'm very glad your comments. I'm glad that you're going to thinking about it. It was the goal of my speech for you. I am going to do you thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being with us today and sharing the knowledge on those topics. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining.